this notion that, you know what I'm saying, to believe that, that we can all be the same, have the same experiences. And the deal, and a setback with that is of not coming on head on, acknowledging contradictions. With that way, it sets the stage for the ruling class, the system, to exploit our contradictions, make them antagonistic contradictions.
I just realized, the three of us, we're from cities there. So Chicago is my sister city. Brian is from Oakland. And so the three of these cities have all seen some of the same dynamics. Like you were talking about how people, it's amazing how "what about Chicago" became one of the phrases of 2020 and 2019. And unfortunately of the last administration, trying to use Chicago as some kind of political talking point, where we know the people who often ask "what about Chicago" don't give a fuck about Chicago. Just like the people who ask "what about Oakland," they don't give a fuck about any of these cities. It's just a convenient, point for them to try to use as a tool and a weapon of white supremacy. But Ryan, I want to ask you, this. I had Daniel on the podcast a week or so ago. He was great. And what I did not anticipate is, I posted, he had some very amazing words to say about about this role, how he prepared, the voice training that he went through to try to really capture Fred's oratory skills, his cadence. And we talking about a Chicago accent, which ain't the same thing, and a certain part in Chicago, that accent, right? So but one thing I didn't expect is that there was an element of, I don't want to put too much sauce on it, but backlash, in the sense of, with Daniel being British born, as Black as everybody that's on this podcast right now, but yet there are some people in our community who feel like these roles should go to African American actors who they feel like can better relate to the experience of what happened in this country. And as much as I'm like, y'all know racism don't just happen in America, right? Like, I'm pretty sure Daniel Kaluuya knows what the fuck racism is, right? But nevertheless, as somebody in your position who often has heard this, what do you say to some of the folks in our community who seem to be reluctant when they see somebody like Daniel cast in these roles, in a role like this?
Yeah, that's a great question. What do I say? I mean, I think Chairman has really, really interesting perspective on this. Because the truth is, whenever I hear criticism, right, as a person, but especially like as somebody who makes things, somebody who's a part of a community, you know what I mean? I'm a part of the artistic community, entertainment community, and I'm a Black man born where I was born. You know what I'm saying? And that specific critique is one that I'm a member of all of those communities, right? You know what I'm saying? And I never wanted, so I always try to hear critique. You know what I'm saying? And give it its just due. You know what I mean? And there's a portion of that critique, that does come from the place of, hey, what we've been through is specific. You know what I'm saying? And that specificity, should be acknowledged, right? And I think that there is truth in that. Absolutely. You know what I mean? However, what made me comfortable with this choice was a few things. Like, for one, the Black Panthers was an international organization. You know what I mean? That was what it was. Like, I knew that, I knew that when Eldridge Cleaver defected, he went to Algeria. You know what I'm saying? Like that was something that was known. I knew that at that time, people were finding solidarity with people who were fighting in Cuba, people who were fighting in Central and South America. You know what I mean? People that were fighting fascism all over the place. And so from that perspective, that made it bother me less. You know what I'm saying? But from the other perspective, just knowing Daniel, like when Shaka said, "Yo, this is who I want to cast," it was a guy who I knew. You know what I'm saying? Like, and and he as a person is somebody who's very steeped in the understanding of, you know, what it means to be Black on an international level and the specificity of those things. You know what I mean? Yeah, he has to be a Black man in Uganda. He has to be a Black man in the UK. He has to be a Black man here. You know what I'm saying? And like that concept of it and the struggles that he's had in his personal life was also a reason why I thought it made sense. And the biggest thing was that was you know, that was our filmmaker's choice. You know what I'm saying? Like that, and I'm here as a producer to service him. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, that's my number one role, right? You know what I mean? So often, you know, Shaka tell me, hey man, this is what I'm trying to do. You know what I'm saying? Even Chairman Fred Jr. say, hey, this can't happen. You know what I mean? Like, this should be that. And my job is to try to service those things. You know what I'm saying? And be a voice of like, I can bounce ideas back off. You know what I'm saying? And the truth is that, you know, neither Shaka nor Daniel or myself or anybody involved went into that situation blind. You know what I mean? Like we didn't go into that situation blind or dismissive of any criticism that they have. But I mean, I think Chairman Fred Jr.'s point of view on it is often when that was enlightening for me as well. You know.
Yeah, Chairman, why don't you offer your thoughts on that? Because, you know, there will be some in the community who'll say, like, you know, should Daniel have played this role because he's not specifically Black American? And you know, how do you view that situation?
That point, back to that point guard analogy. You can't pass the ball. You passing the ball, we coming down court. We're told in our community, in the Black community in particular, not to acknowledge contradictions. We're fed this this notion that, you know what I'm saying, to believe that, you know, that we can all be the same, have the same experiences. And the deal, and a setback with that is of not coming on head on, acknowledging contradictions, with that way it sets the stage for the ruling class, the system, to exploit our contradictions, make them antagonistic contradictions. These are dynamics that the system was unable to pull when Chairman Fred, in a city that was and remains to be, for all practical purposes, top segregated city in the country, Chicago, he dealt with the race question. He acknowledged the class contradiction. He didn't feel we recognize they couldn't afford the luxury to say, okay, we all have the same aspirations. Who, again, you talking about the young patriots at the time, in one stage the game was so reactionary, they were wearing Confederate flags on their jackets. Chairman Fred was a realist on what points of unity can we reinforce on to come through the door. Even in our present day organizing, it's not you know, devaluing one side from the other side. How we strategically, those events I mentioned to you earlier. If you look at all our flyers from our past events, a lot of people say, Chairman, why you do one on 45th and Michigan and one out west? The contradiction between the South and the West side. It's a balancing act. I know that there are contradictions with the various street organizations. Again, so we got to come through acknowledging that this this project, this movie, you know, there's certain Panther Cub political seeds that we can pivot up of to have further this discussion. One thing that I'm sticking for, I pick up on, you know, one, we recognize that, you know, we recognize the race and class contradiction. Daniel particularly, and some of the other, I'm real big about, we're real big about respect. In fact, when we do coalition work, we say no respect, no rap. You know what I'm saying? It can be adversarial situations. People come through and say, all this. I mean, one time we organized, we call it a tribe truce, not a peace treaty, a tribe truce. That's what we organized. And one of the guys from one street organization said, this is great, Chairman. I finally get to hang out. I said, whoa, stop. I'm not going to tell you that, you know, that we all got the same interest. This revolution, is Chairman Fred says, is a scientific art that must be perfected. You see, when U.S. imperialism, when they make moves, you know, they may have alliances with Russia or Germany at certain times, but they don't devalue it to, well, this person likes this person. So how is U.S. and North Korea? They have a common interest. You see, even the colonization of our communities, different entities, the Portuguese, the Spaniards, they had a common interest in exploiting us. This brother, his relationship to the people is, again, in these conditions that impact Black people in particular, it transcends geographical, generational, and gender lines. And the deal is to acknowledge it. You know, I'm not going to say, Okay, like I said, even in Chicago, the South and West Side, they're different dynamics. You can pick up on it. You can say, okay, I'm on a different side of town. But acknowledge these contradictions. And again, not to be dismissive, to say, okay, no, or even to flatter ourselves to say it's something about me that's different than you or someone else. It's because something I did. You know what I'm saying? In Chicago, the organizational question is real big. Not because something that we did independently. We are impacted by the Dailies, the Capone, so on and so forth. In Brazil, how they dance. The Portuguese never made the drum illegal. So we must acknowledge everything about us, our community, we impacted by who we colonized by, but we find that common strain, that common dynamic. And again, in our community, you give a few minutes, you say, oh, I can relate to, so where you at? We going through the same thing in Atlanta. So we going through the same thing over the Congo in Chicago. They call it something different here. Some language that you find those points of unity. And that's what we have to do. We have to heighten the contradictions. I know all of us, we had the whole propaganda, all people in Africa don't like us, so on and so forth. And I just tell all the cats, a lot of people that you came into contact with, they don't relate to the masses in Africa. They don't relate to the people, they have a disdain for the people there. I don't care wherever they go, you know what I'm saying? So we have to not be held captive by this colonial confines. So I encourage the discussion. I encourage it. You know what I'm saying? Come on with it. But again, two things I look for in field: race or class arrogance. You know what I'm saying? And we can, and Daniel does not have it. You know what I'm saying? Again, his appreciation, his connection, you know what I'm saying, with us. We was on the west side of Chicago, 3, 4 in the morning, and we're gonna do it again. Yeah, but it's a conversation that we must acknowledge, but we shouldn't have this conversation in a reactionary way. We shouldn't have this conversation with the dictates of the system. You know what I'm saying? We could come in. The Black Panther Party said differences amongst the people are reconcilable. However, difference in the people in the state are irreconcilable. We got to come in, acknowledge that they are contradictions, and they are not necessarily antagonistic contradictions.